Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello. All right, let's begin. Your speaking practices have been consistent. I think there was only 1 week when we could not practice because I was down with seasonal flu. Now, let's talk about how to improve on specific criteria. One criterion at a time. Do you know how many criteria you will be judged on or assessed on during IELTS speaking? You know how many criteria there are for IELTS speaking?
Yes, I think it's 4 criteria.
4 criteria. Fluency, coherence, that's one. Fluency and coherence. Lexical vocabulary, grammar range and accuracy, and pronunciation. These are the 4 criteria that you will be assessed on during IELTS speaking. Do you remember that there was a task which you did where you learned what to do? Where you learned what to do and how to get marks in one specific criteria? You remember that?
No, ma'am. It's a little bit confused about.
In your classes, there was a task where you had to determine what you need to do to get marks in, say, pronunciation. Okay, let me open the book and I can show you. Anyway, when I show you the task, I think you will remember. I'm sharing the screen with you right now. This one.
Yes, ma'am. Fluency and coherence, lexical resource, pronunciation.
Exactly. So this was a task that you did, remember?
Yes.
So you know what to do if you want to improve your fluency and coherence, right? Please refer to your notes and please keep yourself muted if you're not talking because there are a lot of other noises around you. Please keep yourselves muted if you're not talking because there are a lot of noises around you. It's quite distracting. This is a request. Please keep yourselves muted. Now, what are the things that you need to do if you're aiming to improve your fluency and coherence? If you did the task, you already should have the answer to that. Can anyone tell me what are the things that you're supposed to do? Anybody?
Ma'am, I didn't understand the question, please.
If you want to improve your fluency and coherence, what are the things that you should do?
I think I should practice more and more with a partner for maintaining coherence and also the improving my fluency. and if we not exercise with a partner or myself, I will not able to improve my fluency. And this uh,
All right, let's look at these things. You can do some of the things written here. We'll begin with those. Huh? For example, be communicative. The first thing that you need to understand is being communicative means answering the question that you are asked. All right? The
yes,
question that you're asked is of the utmost importance, because if you don't understand the question, you won't be able to answer it.
yes,
To answer it, it becomes tricky because you don't get any marks. For example, if you don't understand the question in part 2, if you don't understand the cue card topic written, if you fail to address that, if you misunderstand the question, what happens is your answer is wrong. I took a mock test yesterday and the candidate completely got it wrong. The
oh,
topic was describe an apartment or a house that you want to live in. The candidate answered, she spoke for 2 minutes about the house she now lives in.
oh,
Misunderstood the topic. You will not get any mark for part 2 if you don't understand or misunderstand the topic and fail to answer. So being communicative is the first thing that you need to do. All right. What are
yes,
the other ones? Develop your opinions. Look at number 10. Develop your opinions. You need to be able to develop your opinions. Develop how? Give reasons, give examples. Huh? When you're talking about whatever you're asked, you need to give reasons for your answers. You need to give examples for your answer, basically providing evidence. If you need to, you should talk about the opposite opinions. If you're giving an opinion, you should also talk about the opposite opinions. Because if your examiner knows you only know your side of the opinion, it's fine, it's okay. But if you can show your examiner, you know both opinions, both sides of the opinion, and you still stick to yours, your answer becomes a little more solid. Huh. Number 11, speak at a steady, constant speed. You need to maintain a steady speed throughout your test. Whenever you're talking, try not to talk too quickly, try not to talk too slowly, because if you're too quick, there's a chance that you may make mistakes. The examiner might not be able to understand you, things like that. If you're too slow, you might not be able to cover everything that you are supposed to cover. If you're too slow, that might happen. So go for a relatively steady speed so you can get out whatever you want. At the same time, you don't make too many mistakes. If you've seen Barack Hussein Obama speak, you know what I mean. He speaks slowly, he pauses, but he's one of the most eloquent speakers ever to enter the White House, at least compared to the next one. Apologies. So a constant steady speed will help. There are some candidates who look elsewhere, everywhere, except for who look everywhere other than their examiners, who look at everything else, trying to think. I have a candidate who closes their eyes and speaks. Huh. These are noticeable efforts. You're not supposed to show effort when you're talking. If the effort, you're really trying hard to speak English, shows on your face, it's a problem. Huh. You need to be able to speak as naturally as possible. This takes a little getting used to, because you cannot see your face. What you need is to practice in front of the mirror. Control your expressions, control your facial expressions. smile. I know it seems dumb, but when you're smiling at your examiner, there are very few people who will not smile back if you smile at them. Huh? This is an exam setting. If you are smiling, if you look naturally comfortable, that helps your score. If you're nervous, if your effort shows on your face, your body language, your mark suffers. So if you can show your examiner, you don't have to put much effort into your speaking test. It comes naturally to you. The attitude defines a lot of your mark. Okay? Examiners, people, people, people generally like confidence. Yeah. So if you're confident, your face doesn't show much effort, your face doesn't show much pain when you're talking. There are people who legit look, they're in pain when they're talking, when they're trying to talk English, because it is painful for them to some point. Don't look like that. A lot of your mark will come from this, that you look naturally comfortable, you look confident, how you carry yourself. One suggestion I might have for you is wear something that gives you confidence, that boosts your confidence. Wearing an old t-shirt and an old jeans and dressing up for the occasion the way you're comfortable gives you a lot of confidence. I feel really confident in shine when I have pinned it up, when I have draped it very nicely around myself. I feel confident. I carry myself in a different way. You might have something like that too. So not showing effort gives you marks. Finally, extended answers. You've been taught methods like area, I think. So this is how you basically give extended answers. Don't just stick to whatever is asked of you. Do you like to drink coffee? Yes, I love coffee. Extend. Why? What kind of coffee do you like? What brand of coffee do you like? Do you make it yourself? Do you go to the cafes and drink there, or does someone else make it for you? These are extended answers. I won't elaborate much on that because you already know. Now, fluency and coherence. Any questions about what I just discussed with you? Any questions? None? All right.
Fluency means speak randomly and not mumbling, right?
Not randomly, naturally.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Naturally.
And coherence means according to the question. Answer should be according to the question, right?
Yes. Yes. You need to be able to be understood. Huh.
Okay.
The examiner has to understand you. Now, any other questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. So what I'm going to do is start with part 1. I will be showing you some questions, and then I will be putting the 4 of you into breakout rooms and ask you to practice. I will be listening, and I will only mark on your fluency and coherence. Today, our feedback will only be on fluency and coherence. All right?
I just want to ask you one thing. Is it possible that you conduct a mock test instead of we practicing together?
I need to be able to listen to you, but of course, toward the end of the test, if you want to take a mock test, I will gladly give you one. All right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, looking forward.
Gotcha. So let me show you the questions. What we'll do is start with part 1. I will be showing you some part 1 questions. What you'll do is take a screenshot. First of all, take a screenshot. I will turn off my camera. You take a screenshot without my face in it. Secondly, I will put you in the breakout rooms. you take turns asking each other those questions. All right? You can ask each other 2 questions at a time. But make sure you cover as many questions as possible. After one round, you will be covering half, your partner will be covering the other half of the questions. Start over. The questions that you didn't answer, let your partner ask those on the second round. Do we understand the task?
We can ask at least there should be 2 questions, and maximum it could vary, right? Depending on the time. Okay.
2 questions at a time. Like you ask your partner 2 questions, they answer, and then your partner asks you 2 questions, one at a time. You answer, like you take turns. Cover as many as you can.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
So I will be showing you the questions now. Please take a screenshot. I hope you have taken the screenshot. Now, in the breakout room, try not to look at the question before you answer. Huh? Try not to look at the question. Try to listen to the question and then answer. Okay? Try to listen to the question and then answer. All right, I am putting you into the breakout rooms. You'll get a request and you can join. Any questions before we move to the breakout rooms? No questions?
No, not really.
All right. Well, if you want to share the screen in the breakout room, if you can share the screen in the breakout room, please do so. Otherwise, consult your own screenshot while asking a question. Huh? If you can share.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
In breakout room, the same question will I will ask this question. Ask me my partner.
Nah, you can take turns. Like you ask your partner questions 1 and 2. Then your partner asks you questions 3 and 4, and then you cover all of them, and then start over if you have time. Now, the questions that you hadn't answered, huh?
Yes.
Now you start all over again with the other set of questions.
Okay.
Any other questions before we move on?
No.
All right. I've opened all rooms. Please join. Please join. Your rooms are open. All rooms are open. Please join. Right.
Is the session over, ma'am?
This class is not over. Your practice session was over. Yes, I concluded it a minute ago. We still have a lot of ground to cover. No worries. All right, all of you are here. Now, all of you were able to be understood, so that's a good thing. Talking at length, extending your answers is still a little bit of, it's still not as good as it should be. Not for all of you, but some of you. Extending your answers is really important, okay? Also, if there's a lot of noise around you, you can mute yourself. Huh. Acha. Mumbling is an issue. Mumbling is more or less a constant issue. Now, there are some things I'd like to talk to you about. Do you know what discourse markers are? Asya, let me show you the speaking descriptors, band descriptors, what they actually want you to do. I showed it for a brief moment, our last practice session. Do you remember that? Can you see this? Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's look at what they want and how they've divided the band scores in fluency and coherence. So if you're a band 9 speaker, this is what you do. Speaks fluently with only rare repetition or self-correction. So a lot of repetition happens still in your speech. Self-correction is not a common problem. Like you start saying something, you stop midway because you realize you've made a mistake, grammatical or lexical. You go back and you say it again. So that is self-correction. Any hesitation is content related rather than to find words or grammar. Remember what we were talking about, noticeable effort. If you're talking with noticeable effort, if you're not able to talk naturally, if you are thinking visibly, this is what doesn't happen. Any hesitation on your part would only be when you're thinking about the answer itself, not how to say it. Speak coherently with fully appropriate cohesive features. Do you know what are cohesive features?
No, ma'am. Please.
Cohesive devices, linking devices. Do you know what linking devices are? Linkers.
Linkers.
Linkers are the most common or the most varied type of cohesive features. There are also conjunctions. There are pronouns, how you can represent the same thing with different words. For example, say there is an article about Messi, Lionel Messi. So you're reading an article about Messi. Will the article writer keep repeating Messi, Messi, Messi throughout the article? Or will the writer use some other words to represent Messi in his article or her article?
Obviously, use other word.
Other word. So he'll use
pronoun.
He'll use pronouns. Okay, so the use of pronouns gives variety to your answer. It is also one of the cohesive features. So you know conjunctions, you know pronouns, you know linkers. All you have to do is use it. Fully appropriate. Not like you have to use a lot of linkers within a short amount of time. No, fully appropriate means When you need to use a linker, you use a linker. When you need to use a pronoun to make your answer more natural, that's when you use it. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Develops topics fully and appropriately. Fully and appropriately means you give evidence, you give examples. That's it. Whatever you're talking about, you can develop your answer. Right? So this is what a band 9 speaker does. Now, let's look at band 8. Between 9 and 8, there is 8.5. You do some things from 9, you do some things from 8. There is a mixture. It will be 8.5. All right?
Yes.
If you don't have, for some examiners, if you don't have a native accent, if you don't have a native English accent, they will not give you band 9. There are examinees who get band 9 in speaking. There are. But most of the good speakers, they get 8.5. Speaks fluently. Let's look at band 8. Speaks fluently with only occasional repetition or self-correction. See, the difference between rare and occasional is, of course, the number of times you repeat yourself. Say rare would be 1 out of 7. Occasional would be 3 out of 7. See, occasional, সবসময় হয় না, মাঝে মধ্যে। And rare is বলতে গেলে হয়ই না, একটা দুইটা. That's the difference. Hesitation is usually content related and only rarely to search for language. When you are looking for language, very rarely, like band 9 speakers don't do it. Band 8 speakers rarely do it. You're looking for a word. You're looking for lexical or some sort of linguistic weapon for your battle. Speaking is a battle for a lot of people. See, the way I spoke just now, I was looking for words, hence my 8.5. Sometimes you cannot think of the right words. That's when you get this kind of band score. But if it's a constant thing, then you get less. We'll get there. Rarely to search for language. Look at the language that they're putting here. What level of skill? They're telling you what level of skill is required for you to get a specific band score. All right? Develop topic coherently and appropriately. Coherently, not fully, coherently. There are some occasions that your development might not be completely appropriate. Sometimes you lose touch here and there. That's fine. That's when you get band 8. All right? Now, let's look at band 7. Usually, candidates hover between 6 and 7. Right? After a lot of practice, when they sit for the exam, they hover between 6 and 7, most of the candidates. Right? That's the average score that you need for most universities, whether in Canada or UK or USA. Very few universities have very high requirements. Yeah. So between 6 and 7 is what most people aim for. 6, 6.5, 7. This is the range. If you're here, you need to be able to basically memorize this requirement, whatever you're supposed to do, and then use it. 7, speaks at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. You talk as much as you're allowed to without looking like you're putting in a lot of effort to remember stuff or loss of coherence. You don't go off track. You stay on topic. That's what you do. All right, for answer. May demonstrate language related hesitation at times, not always, at times. Okay, this is not rarely, this is not occasionally, this is a little more frequent at times. Or some repetition and or self-correction. Some repetition, some. Look at the level. The level is increasing. The level of mistakes that you can make is increasing. All right. Uses a range of connectives and discourse markers with some flexibility. We already talked about connectives, the ones that connect words and sentences. What are discourse markers? Any idea? Okay. This was a discourse marker. Okay. However, we don't use that in IELTS. Discourse markers are the ones that you say just to fill the silence, like, okay, like, you know. These are the discourse markers we don't use for IELTS. Usually, what we use we use are, well, I mean, well, I mean, oh, right. These are the discourse markers that we can use for IELTS. Don't use like. Like is annoying. Don't use, you know. Never say you know to your examiner. Hey, there are some things that you shouldn't say, like sorry. Don't say sorry. You could say my apologies, or pardon me. Pardon me is a good one if you want to be a little formal. Like, you know, and okay. Never start an answer with okay, please. Never start an answer with okay. It's not okay. Use discourse markers like, oh, right. Well, it's really good one. So what happened last night was, so the first phone that I had used was, these are discourse markers. You begin with these. That's fine. Any questions about discourse markers?
No.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to know about the What is the meaning And because many time I hear about this word, and native speaker are use this word is frequently and frequently.
Yes, I know. Is basically the equivalent of Bangla to hocche, jano, to hocche, erokom. So when we say the words to hocche, that's kind of what means. Jano, erokom. My apologies. Putting my phone on silent. So that is what it means. So that is a verbal tick. That is a verbal tick. Is basically the native speaker's way of filling voids, filling silences. But in IELTS speaking, like, you should never address your examiner like that. Of course, you would know. No. Try to use other words. Don't say to your examiner. It seems less appropriate. At least that's what I've seen in a lot of native speaker IELTS here. If you want to know more about it, you can browse around. So, is not a good way to fill your silences. No. Don't say it. Use others. Acha. Any other question about discourse markers? All right. A range of connectives and discourse markers. A range, as in you shouldn't use well only. You can start every answer with well, but you shouldn't. If you want marks above 7, 7 or above 7, you should use a range of these. Well, oh, so some flexibility, not complete flexibility, some flexibility. Look at the range, look at the levels. This determines your score. How much of how much skill you show and what level of skill you show. Let's look at 6. Is willing to speak at length, though may lose coherence at times due to occasional repetition, self-correction, or hesitation. You're trying to speak, you're trying to extend your answers, but sometimes you lose focus along the way, in the middle of a sentence, or while you're connecting a sentence, while you're connecting your ideas, you hesitate. You hesitate because you are thinking about what to say next. That's the most common pattern I've seen. You pause, you think about what to say next. That looks like hesitation. That is where your score suffers, because you're not speaking naturally. You still need to think, self-correct, or repeat, or hesitate. You're trying to speak, but are not completely successful. You lose something along the way. Right? So this is the range that you will be looking forward to, if that helps. This is a range of connectives and discourse markers, but not always appropriate. Not always. So you're using the discourse markers, you're using the connectives, but not with some flexibility. You're making some inappropriate or less appropriate use. যখন বলার কথা না তখন বলছেন. You're saying it, but it doesn't fit completely. That's where your mark suffers. So this is between 6 and 7. Most of the candidates aim for this. I will not be going to 5 because I don't think you should be aiming for 5. We will only see 6, 7, 8, and 9.
I just want to ask you one thing. I'm sorry, complete then. Sure.
If you want to know what not to do, that's when you go beyond 6. If you want to know what not to do, take your note copy, take your pencil, sit with this, look at bands 1 through 5, just to note what not to do. What to do? Look above band 6. All right? Okay. Yes. Okay, sir. Please.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, as you mentioned, the discourse initiator. That's the word probably you would have used. I'm sorry.
Discourse markers, right? This
Yeah.
one?
Thanks for correcting. Yeah. Actually, I just wanted to check whether in all the scenarios, it's not required what I can relate to. I would be judging it further as you'll take our mock test. And all the questions, I believe well would be good enough to start with as a marker. But for O, that is an exclamation mark. And so that's something is kind of an exclamation too. So, I mean, do you think, I mean, I can't relate with all the portions. O and so would be related. So would be in the continuity. O would be when you're surprised. And well is something which will go with every answer you're giving.
Sort of. Yes. Yes. This is why it says with some flexibility. That's what it means. When you're answering with discourse markers, it depends on the question. It depends on the answer that you're going to give. All right. So appropriate use of discourse markers is necessary for a good score. You can start every answer with well, of course. However, there are some answers you could start with so, or you could use so as a discourse marker in the middle of the answers as well.
Yeah, that could be done in the middle. Yes.
Yeah, so with some flexibility, your score becomes better. If you can show some use of the discourse markers, appropriate use of discourse markers, that increases your score. Well is perfect.
Any other discourse marker apart from these three which can be used?
Right.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. So right can be used anytime. Yeah. Yeah. That is. Yeah.
That can be used anytime. So these are the ones that I can.
So if we, just a moment. I just recall. Sure is also. This is
sure is a good one. Sure is a good one. Sure. It's a good one.
Can we say thank you for asking the question? I think that would be quite formal. It won't look good even, right?
No. You should not say that. You should not say that. Don't thank your examiner during the test.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you can be polite and say thank you for your time before you leave.
Yes, right.
So
Right.
never say thank you, never say sorry to your examiner between the questions during the test. That's a
Got it.
that would not reflect well on you.
Yes, yes.
All right. So for further understanding, I would ask you to look into Google, ask Dr. Google for this one, the speaking band descriptors, as well as the discourse markers. You can Google them. Conjunctions. You have had your conjunction class, fanboys on a white bus, right?
Yes.
So your use of connectives and discourse markers can be helped by Google. Google them and learn the ones that would be enough. So at least 6, 7, maybe that should be flexible enough. Of every category, you should learn at least 6 or 7 different variants. That will be good. All right.
You mean the fanboys and on a white bus, 6,
No,
7 of.
No. I mean discourse markers and connectives.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Fanboys on a white bus are pretty specific. You should learn all of them.
Yeah, I mean, learning and just implementing, and while we are speaking, it's hard to recall. If you are able to recall, and then person would think that he is thinking and then saying. So it should be natural, as you mentioned.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. As much as it's important, it has to be natural. So when you practice, it comes naturally to you. That's how it.
All right. Right.
Any question you might have? I think the common answer would be practice. How do I do this? Practice.
Yeah.
All right. Now, should I take your tests or just let you practice, make you practice part 2 with me?
I mean, I think a test would be good enough. Rest you can decide. I mean, because I'm planning to give it in December, first week or second week.
You need as much practice as you can get.
Yes, ma'am.
Acha. Tahole, I will. All right then. Then let me just open up some tests that I can use. Just give me a moment, please.
Sure.
And get ready with your pencil and paper for note taking, and also your video. Please get ready to take the test. I'll start with Akhil sir, and if any of the rest of you want to take the test, I'll take it as well. We just stop the stopwatch and we'll be ready. Okay. Okay, sir, are you ready? I cannot hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I can hear you now. Do you want me to evaluate you on all 4 criteria or just fluency and coherence?
All 4. I mean, like the real test, so I'll have a better idea.
Okay. Okay then. The test will be lengthy today because I will be giving you detailed feedbacks because you need it.
Thank you.
For the test. Okay, let's start. May I have your full name, please?
Sure. My name is Akhil Chaudhary.
How may I address you?
Akhil. That would be good enough.
What?
That would be good enough. Akhil. Okay. AKHIL. Yeah.
So, you said it a little slowly, so I didn't get it. All right. Speak louder. Always speak louder. Where is your hometown?
Well, I'm a resident of Faridabad. It's a city near to Delhi. That's the capital of India. And it's one of the known known industrial area in India. It's ranked 6th, and it's a beautiful city to be in. It is included in one of the 50 mega cities which is coming in India and has been planned
All right,
by
thank you.
2050. Yeah.
Do many people visit your hometown?
Yes, I can see nowadays there are few foreigners as well, but earlier it was not, probably because it's connected to Delhi, so that could be the reason. So people, they do come mainly for the business purposes, not for tourism or anything of this sort. But yes, there are a lot of products which are being exported from Faridabad to other countries. So that makes it a known
Thank you.
city.
So did you learn about the history of your hometown in school?
Not in school, but I do remember one of my teachers has told me that the name of Faridabad actually was taken from a saint, Farik, as the Mughals were there earlier during 1600th century, and as India was a bigger nation, as Pakistan was part of it too, and there is open trade which has. Yeah. Sorry.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Look
Sorry.
for these cues when the examiner is going to start the next, asking the next question. You need to look out for those cues. Also, okay, sir, your eyebrows are furrowed when you're talking. Huh. That shows that you're concentrating hard while speaking. So try to keep it neutral if you can.
Okay.
And a little bit of smile here and there would help.
Sure.
When you're talking about hometown, if you're smiling, it shows that you are enjoying talking about your town. See?
Got it.
So
Yeah.
you remember stuff, you're down memory lane. The passion shows if you smile a little bit while talking about things personal to you. These
sure,
are
I'll
not,
try wearing.
I know. These are not things that exactly give you marks, but they boost your chances of impressing your examiner. These little things, a little smile here and there, no brows furrowed. You are looking confident and natural. See? All right. Let's move on to part 2. Just give me a moment. Just a moment.
Sure.
All right. I will be showing you the part 2 topic. You'll have 1 minute to prepare for it and then 2 minutes to speak on it. All right?
Sure.
Can you see the topic?
Yes.
Your 1 minute begins now. All right, your 1 minute is up. Now you'll be speaking for 2 minutes. Please begin.
Sure. Well, I have not really a person or a child who used to play with toys, because I was quite destructive in nature. I mean, my mother, she still says me that I was quite notorious and naughty when I was a kid. So I used to break the toys which I used to get from my parents. I would say that I had a fascination towards cars, scramble games, and other toys. However, I never was something which used to keep the toys with me. Even I do remember myself. I bought a gun, and that was very next day got broken because of. I mean, I just uh, had put some more power in it. So I should have handled it delicately, but somehow I mean, I lost it, and that's something which I can recall and I can relate. Now I try to keep the things quite good because I played martial arts in the childhood, so that's kind of a tendency which I was carrying. And still, I do sports and activities, other activities which I can relate with. However, the things has changed a lot. I do remember I got a car which I bought, and it was I mean it was a automatic car, and so that's something which I kept with me for a long time, but it was not up to the mark because I opened up and I kind of put my kind of open the parts and just haven't used the toy to the way the children does. Though I would say it was a wonderful.
Thank you very much. That would be the end of part 2. All right. Now, do you think that children these days like the same kinds of toys they did in the past?
Well, I would say that the mentality of people have changed because with the passage of time, the technology has changed. So in my childhood days, there were different kind of toys. Now, toys which we get in the market is a bit different. So that the approach towards toys and the way that people or children play is quite different as compared to what it was earlier.
Right.
So
What
I
kind
believe,
of toys
yeah,
are important for children, do you think?
I believe it's uh, required for children to have something which can enhance their brain. Uh, for an instance, chess is a good game to play because it's developed the left hemisphere of the human mind, as well as students or kids should have uh, something which stimulates the right hemisphere of the brain, like some musical instruments, because if we have the balance of right and left hemisphere, that's something which is quite useful, and it should be developed both ways so that a person can
All right.
have overall
Thank you
personality.
very much. What do you think about people who buy too many toys for their kids?
I would say that making kids, one should, or the parent should know the liking of a kid from childhood so that they can pamper and grow that side of a child, which would be useful for him to choose that field as a career or as a hobby. So that should be the aim of parents, instead of giving so many toys to a child, because this is kind of exploitation. Uh, Children should be taught the way of using the proper utilization of the resources, whether it comes to money or something else. So these are the things which parents should keep in mind, and that's how they should grow up their children. So that would be more useful, instead of just showering the toys or giving them the advantages which should
All
not be
right.
given.
Thank you very much. Do you think girls and boys like the same kinds of toys or different?
I would say that it depends on the mindset because as per the philosophy I believe in, it's Shiva and Shakti. That's feminine and masculine traits are there in everybody, irrespective of the gender. So I believe that should be pampered, and it depends on the person's mindset. That's something which is nurtured by a child, by the parents to the children. So if it's there, then definitely, I mean, if it can be inculcated in that way that both are equal, it should be taken that way, because that's the oldest philosophy which talks about the same thing, and it should be groomed that way because nowadays women and men are doing equally
Thank you
good
very
at the.
much. That is the end of your test. Just
Thank
a
you
moment, please.
for the time. Yeah.
Thank you for your time. That would be a better one.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I said. I think I just mumbled it again.
For the time.
Okay. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
I know these are very minor things, but since you have your test coming up, I will look at every
Right.
single thing.
Right. Yeah.
Acha. So in part 2, it took you 38 seconds to say you had a gun. It took you 1 minute 25 seconds to say you had a car. The topic was very specific. If you did not have a toy in your childhood that you can specifically talk about, make it up. The background information that you gave me, like your mother said you are very naughty, you used to break toys and everything, those are all related information to the topic. Of course you'll say them, but address the topic first. Address the topic first, and then you can say, I could never keep a toy intact when I was a child, but this was a toy that I really liked, so I used it for a long time. Even if you didn't lie, it's fine. You need marks. All right, so address the topic first. You didn't exactly talk about a toy that you had in childhood that you really liked. Make up the answer. Even if you didn't have one, say you did, because that's what the topic says. Okay, after about 1 minute 32 seconds, you started to trail off. I think you didn't have many things to say after that time. I could see you visibly searching for things to say, and your mumbling was, I think this was the worst mumbling I've ever seen you do. You're a regular. I can't hear you, by the way. I can't hear you, by the way. You're mute. You're mute.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I just actually I got a bit of disturb as well because a couple of people came in, and I mean I'm not in the same location where I used to be.
Usually, yes.
Yeah, but these are all excuses. Fine. I mean, yeah.
Well, yes, you should be able to tune it out. You should be able to tune it out.
Yeah.
During your exam, the invigilators will annoy you to the best of their ability. They will keep hovering over you without a reason. They'll keep just walking between the aisles and distracting you while you're trying to read through the text and answer the questions and write and think at the same time. So you need to be able to tune these out. Practice a little, because these things will help. If you, for some reason, if you see something, some silhouette at the door or something, and you get distracted, your score suffers. This happened with me in a few of my mock tests. There was some construction going on, and there was a lot of pounding somewhere. People were working, and I got so distracted, I forgot what I was about to say. And because I'm a short-tempered person, I was visibly angry. All right. That affected the score. So that's when I learned, I have to tune this out, because otherwise no one else suffers but me.
True.
Your goal in your sights. All right. You're using so too much as a linker. Find other ways to say so, like therefore, eventually. Find other ways. instead of so. You're using so as a linker way too much. Okay. So that's one variation you can bring. The fourth question, when you were talking about the masculine and feminine features that everyone has, that's the kind of facial expression I want you to keep throughout the test.
Okay.
You look glad talking about this. I think this is one of your favorite topics, right? One of the areas of.
No, I was just recalling because I goofed up on the previous one, so I was like, okay, I should recover it. So I was just giving a fake smile, and I like the topic. There's this philosophy part because that's something is my subject. So that's how I wanted to cope up because I
15
goofed up
minutes
on the
of that
very
fake
first.
smile and you're golden. 15 minutes of that fake smile and you're golden. Huh. So this is the expression that you right now have. I want this to be your expression in the test. Huh.
Sure,
Sometimes
that
you're
would be
way
done in the
too
next one.
okay. Sometimes you're way too serious. All right. So a little bit of brevity, a little bit of, just normal facial expression, that would be fine. Or there are some people who cannot talk because they're laughing so hard. I had this candidate who laughed when she lied. You know how you can make up an answer in your test? How we encourage you to make up answers when you're in a test. So when you're talking, if you're lying and you keep on laughing about the fact that you're lying, it was like she couldn't breathe because she was laughing so hard. Yeah. So that's an extreme. Being too serious is another extreme. You should be somewhere in the middle. All right. You say you mumble a lot. This should be worked on a little bit, especially when you're thinking and trying to form a coherent answer. You say a lot. This is something you should work on. I think if you speak a little more, a little slower, maybe, then your mumbling will not be as visible as it is now.
Okay,
Especially when you started trailing off in part 2, your mumbling was really audible. It was very distracting. The examiner will pick up on that. So other than that, you're an extremely accomplished speaker, as we both know. Your test should be fine. What's your target score again for speaking?
I was just thinking, actually, my reading is not that good. I believe I'll be losing mark on that. So I was just targeting 7.5 or 8 in speaking. I just want to know the feedback. I mean, what do you think where I stand as of now? And I'll be working on it regularly. I'll hope to get this desired score in the next mock test. Just want to know the feedback for now, as if, I mean, where I stand, whether I'll be able to achieve 7 plus 7.5 or 8. That's something which I'm targeting.
It's possible. Work on part 2 the most. That gives you 70% of your entire speaking score. So in part 2, you need to be able to, score all the shots, linkers, complex sentences, compound sentences, good words, natural vocabulary, coherence, and fluency at the same time. Your fluency suffered today. It suffered a lot. So if you can keep up a steady score, steady speech throughout part 2, 7 plus is a very much achievable score for you. Take it, sir.
And today, how do you rate for today's
6.5.
6.5?
I can't give you more because of part 2. Okay. So because you need to address the topic, that's your first priority. Secondly, you need to speak for 2 minutes with a similar level of fluency. You're speaking very well at the beginning, but toward the end you trail off. You just shut down. That will make your mark suffer. That will really.
Yeah. Next time, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
It would be
okay.
better. Yeah.
Take it. All right then. Okay, sir. Thank
All
you
right.
so much for your
Thank
participation.
you.
All right. Fazl sir, Basam sir, do you have questions or do you want to sit for a test?
For test, ma'am.
Acha, Masum sir?
Same, ma'am.
All right. We have E. We don't have much time. All right. I'll take your test. Doesn't matter. The class will be extended a little bit, but I hope you can stay. Fazl sir, because you raised your hand first, I'll start
Yes.
with you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. When is your test, by the way? When do you want to take your test?
Oh, my final exam about? Yes, I
Final.
want to. I have registered it for January 14.
January 14th. Okay. You have already registered?
Yes, already registered.
Very good. If you need extra help, Akhil sir, you, Masum sir, if you have registered, Salman sir, if you have registered, if you need extra help, talk to Nafisa Apu. She can arrange it. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
Like once a
Thank
week, a
you.
practice session might not be enough now that your tests are coming near. Maybe you need a little more practice. Talk to Nafisa Apu. Maybe she can arrange something for you. All
Okay.
right? I can take more tests. Acha. Are you ready, Fazl sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
Excellent. May I have your full name, please?
My name's Fazlul Karim.
How may I address you?
You can call me Karim.
All right, Karim. Do you live in a house or an apartment?
I live in my house because I live in a village and I love to live in a village rather than city. That's why I love to live in my house.
All right. Which one is your favorite room?
My favorite room is my bedroom, and where I generally sleep every day and also spend most of the time here.
Why aren't you as fluent as you usually are today? Is everything okay? You usually talk a lot.
Oh, sorry. Uh, yes, yes. It's. I think it's the first part, and
Deep
that.
breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Shoulders straight. Sit straight. Deep breath. Let's start again.
Okay.
May I have your full name, please?
My full name's Fazlul Karim.
How may I address you?
You can call me Karim.
All right, Karim. Do you use a watch?
Yes, obviously I have a watch, and but generally I am not using this watch at present because I have a mobile phone also, and I can see the time on my mobile phone.
Okay. Do you have a talent that you are proud of?
Yes, I have a much more talent, and I have earned it by taking different kind of training. For example, I am a surveyor also, and I can able to measure the land, and also I have taken the computer training, and that's why I know different kind of
Right.
program
Thank
in
you very
computer.
much. Does your talent help you at work?
Obviously my talent has helped my in work and also my study because I have learned computer, and this computer skill helped me my earning source also, and as well as it's helped me my in my study. And another important issue is I can able to measure the land, and that's why when I go
Okay,
for measure
thank
the
you
land
very
it
much.
okay, thank you.
Have you ever taught this talent to anyone else?
Uh, Generally speaking, I haven't talked to about my talent to the other people, but other people express me about my talent because always my friend and also family always tell me about you have much more talent and you are able to know different kind of things in one man. And they say some people are talk me about the one man army.
All right. Now, I will be showing you a topic for part 2. You will have 1 minute to prepare for it and then 2 minutes to speak on it. Okay?
Oh.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Do you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Your 1 minute begins now. Your 1 minute is up. Now you'll be speaking for 2 minutes. Please begin.
Okay. There are a few places that are much more quiet, but here I would like to talk about a place that is more quiet for doing comfortable everything. This place is located in front of my place, and it's a site of a road, and because this place is located such a way, and the three side are full in water, and the one side have a road, and that's why this place is so enjoyable and so quiet. And the natural beauty of this place is so beautiful and so amazing, and anyone he feel depressed or feel nervous, and he if he spend in that if he go in that place and spend some time in that place, yeah, his mind will be better. And another important issue is, and I spend much more time in this place, and usually at night when I go home for my from my office, it's about 10:30 or 11 p.m. And if it will be more enjoyable if this time will be a moonlit night, and I love to see the moonlit night, and the place also I love more. And I sit for some time in this place before going home, and sometimes I thinking about poetry, and also sometimes I write 1 to 2 line of poetry, and sometimes if I get more chance or time, I completed more the poetry in by sitting in this place. And this place also is a variable
Thank you very
because
much.
okay.
That be it. Now, all right. Do you think that young people do not enjoy quietness as much as the previous generation?
Generally speaking, I support to the uh, uh, young people for spending a quiet place, because a quiet place always give a pleasure, and also a quiet thinking is a good thinking, and good thinking. For example, if anyone feel depressed more and more, and because nowadays people are using different kind of instrument like mobile phone, and also the computer game, and they are always full in a stage. And if he or she spend some time in a quiet
All right.
place, his
Thank you very
brain will
much.
be refreshed. Okay.
Do you think our homes and its surroundings are much noisier nowadays?
Mm, at the present is not for everybody, because some people are living in a place and some people are living in a cities, and who's are living in the cities, they are suffering more for noise. But who's are living in a place, they are living in a quiet and a quiet place, and they are enjoying the life, and also they are feel a fresh everything, and also they are inhaling a fresh air from the nature. And that's why it's depend on the place where he or she live in.
Okay, that is the end of your test.
Oh.
Acha. Fazlul Murim sir.
Yes.
Mumbling,
Yes.
pronunciation. Those are the constant issues. Yes?
Yes.
Are you practicing your pronunciation?
Yes, I'm practicing. I'm started practicing.
Do you listen to a lot of content and try to say it the way they say it?
Oh no, in this way I am not practicing.
This is a
Oh,
good way of practicing pronunciation. See, there are channels or there are services. If you have Netflix, do you have Netflix?
not I have been Netflix. Yes, I have a Netflix, but not using.
Use it for your practice because they
Yes.
have subtitles. Yeah.
Yes.
You can play something. You can turn on the subtitles. When
Yes.
the characters are saying the dialogues, you can say with them because you can see
Yes.
the subtitles.
Right.
Try to say it like they say it.
Oh.
That's how you learn the pronunciation. That's
Oh.
at least how I learned pronunciation. It really
Nice.
worked for me. Yeah, when I was in school, I used to do this. Netflix to Chilona, but
Yes.
Star World, the channels, TV channels that showed shows and movies with subtitles,
Yes.
and those were correct subtitles. I said it along with the characters, and that's a lot of that's really good practice for pronunciation.
Oh.
Try this one.
Oh.
Acha. Your description needs work. Your logic building is good. Your ideas are, you have a variety of things to say. Yeah.
Yes.
But your description needs work. How you describe something. You were describing that this place that you go and sit in under a moonlit night, you think of poetry, you sometimes try to write poetry. That description could be brilliant. Yeah, because that situation is brilliant. So when you're describing something, you need to find correct words and the flow that you use.
Yes.
TED Talk. Do you watch TED Talks?
No.
Acha. Go to YouTube and look into this TED Talk. Hey, there are, I think, hundreds of videos of people describing their success stories, their failures, their lives, their actions. These are not motivational speeches. These are basically monologues. Huh?
Oh, no.
And the TED Talkers have one thing in common. They are brilliant speakers.
Oh.
And they describe their topic or whatever they're talking about in very eloquently. Their words, their intonation, their way of speaking, their throw, their pitch, everything is really good. So go and watch TED Talks. Try to absorb some of the tricks that you can see. Yeah.
Oh.
TED Talks is a good way of learning how to describe something.
Oh.
General statements দিয়ে part 2 শুরু করবেন না. Never start part 2 with general statements. All right?
Oh.
There are a lot of quiet places that are good. Don't. Just just address the topic as early as possible. Right? You have one talent. You were asked about one talent. You talked about a lot of talents in that answer. Don't do that.
Oh.
This is coherence, basically. Apologies. This is coherence. You were talked about, do you have one talent? You talk about one talent only. Only. Computer, what did you say?
Surveying.
Survey, ground survey.
Yes.
Pick one, talk about that.
Okay.
So your coherence will suffer if you do that. right? 5 to 5.5, Karim sir, can give you more than that. What's your target?
7 pass. 7.5.
7. Description needs work. Pronunciation needs a lot of work. Also, mumbling needs work. These are the 3 things you should work on.
Okay.
Keep working on these. Stop your mumbling. Learn how to describe and pronunciation, correct pronunciation.
Yes.
Like I said, that will take you closer to 7. Okay.
Oh.
All right. That will be all.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
No problem. Masum sir.
Ma'am, can I ask one thing?
Yes, Salman sir, please.
I don't want to give my full test. I just want that you will ask me some questions and I will answer. That's it.
This is what I was going to ask Masum sir as well. Is it okay that I start the next practice session with you too?
No problem.
All right, Masum sir, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay if I start the next practice session next Sunday with you rather than continuing today?
Yes, yes. If you want, I have no problem.
I need, my throat is screaming.
Okay, okay, ma'am. I feel that
My
you
apologies.
were still too
apologies.
much time with
No,
us.
we were focusing on fluency and coherence today,
Yes.
but since
Okay,
Fazul
no
sir
problem.
and Akhil sir have their tests coming up, have
Okay.
you registered? Masum sir, Salman sir, have you either of you registered?
No, ma'am. I haven't registered yet, but I have planned to register in February
Okay.
or middle last of January. So if if I registered, then I take the help in Hasselblad educations.
Of course, of course. Like I said, if you need more help, talk to Nafisapu. She can arrange something.
Okay, ma'am.
All right,
Okay,
then.
thank you.
That's all for today. I will end the class.
So next workshop is next Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday. It's every Sunday. Workshop
Sunday.
classes, practice classes are every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Okay, so sir, you may leave. Class is over.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome, sir.